back to the drawing table or rethink their whole policy all over again. Because at the moment, we are losing colossal man hours on road traffic gridlocks. We are losing a lot of resources when we purchase petrol in foreign countries in the Middle East and elsewhere, and we burn that fuel on our roads. And then we wake up and say that this is our solution. Paper solution, empty solutions. There really must be something wrong with us. Something fundamentally wrong. And those policy holders, policymakers, and anyone who is in charge of the transport docket, you must rethink your whole strategy. Your game must change. The paradigm must shift. And we're calling for a paradigm shift. And we're calling for everybody to come on the table and say that, hey, look, this is the solution I prefer. We're not looking for knee-jerk reactions, petty solutions that really do not have any benefit in the long term for this country. Thank you.
Yes, not too long ago, the Honorable Matiangi, in charge of the portfolio for Interior and National Government Coordination, demanded of all PSV owners that they should comply with so-called Michuki rules in Legal Notice 161 of 2003. These rules do not exist. Now, according to our Constitution in Article 50, sub-Article 1N in Roman I, it is unconstitutional for you to demand that someone be prosecuted for that which does not constitute law by a decision which was made by the Honorable Justice Ojwang in the case of Republic versus Minister for Transport and others in 2005. On 4th of March 2005, Justice Ojwang, as he then was in the High Court, ordered the then Minister for Transport, Honorable Michuki, now deceased, that he should regularize those rules in Legal Notice 161 of 2003. The truth of the matter is that those were not regularized. And so, by the 5th of September 2005, they have collapsed. They are not law. So no one should be compelled to comply with them. But even more alarming is the fact that Section 102, subsection 2 of the Traffic Act demands that only taxicabs should be painted with a continuous yellow line. So how the Minister in charge of Transport, how the NTSA, how the Inspector General of the National Police Service, or how any traffic officer should demand that PSVs be painted with a continuous yellow line beats logic. These are people who are all violating the law, they themselves. In Article 10(2)(a) of our Constitution, the principle of the rule of law binds all state officers, including these police officers, to abide by what is actually the law. You do not have a roadside declaration assuming the position of law merely because it's coming from the mouths of a state officer. So the paradox of it is that we have the same Section 102, subsection 2 of the Traffic Act demanding that all taxicabs to be painted with a continuous yellow line. It's not an option. You cannot have a taxicab operating without a yellow line. But that is not being enforced. That law was passed by Parliament way back in 1984. It is not something that has come up now. It is not a new demand. So you even wonder why the NTSA would license any single taxicab to operate as a taxicab without complying with that law. We have also contested the issue of the NTSA failing to renew the licenses of subsisting 14-seater PSVs. Now, sometime back in the year 2014, Legal Notice 179 was published by the NTSA, in which the NTSA stated that come January 1st, 2016, they will no longer issue PSV licenses for any PSV having carrying capacity below 25 passengers. Now, that particular rule has not been enforced ever since. His Excellency the President issued a declaration saying that all 14-seater PSV vans should henceforth be licensed. So what has changed now? What has changed? How can you issue a PSV license to someone employing people expecting to stay employed and to earn a livelihood? You wake up one morning and you tell them, we no longer will license you. And you ask, but you licensed me yesterday. You gave me this operating license. I have been using this license as a means by which I earn my livelihood, and I have employed these people. Where do you expect these people to go? Where do you expect them to take their 14-seater vans? If you wake up one morning and you say that, well, you will no longer operate. We cannot have roadside declarations. We cannot have boardroom declarations that supersede what the law has established. Now, if you say, by your own conduct, that this demand has been suspended, and you cause people to invest colossal sums of money. We're not talking about 10 shillings or 100 shillings. We're talking about colossal sums of money. And you have 34,000 or 38,000 14-seater PSVs operating in this country, employing over 250,000 people. Where do you expect those people to go tomorrow? And if you say that you are very serious in ameliorating, in reducing the suffering that the Kenyans suffer, and the employment problem that we have in this country, where do you expect these people to go? Or how do you expect them to perceive your so-called policies of poverty alleviation? We must get serious in this country. We really must get serious, because I don't think this is getting serious, number one. Number two, I think you're playing with people's lives as though they are simple toys in a kindergarten. This should stop. And we're saying, if you are bound by the principle of law, please abide by the principle of the rule of law. Do not throw into the mix the law of the jungle, as though you are not bound by the law, you yourself. How do you expect this government to raise taxes enough to fund your own paycheck at the end of the month if you're telling these 38,000 people that tomorrow you don't have any form of business to do? These PSV vans do not run on water. They buy fuel to run. Half of every single liter purchased by any consumer of petrol goes to taxes. So you're telling us, in a nutshell, you as a government, you're not interested in these taxes. So we must come to the point that we have a sound, reasonable discussion about this. You do not have a knee-jerk reaction, and then you come and tell us that this is a solution to the public transport problem. The public transport problem is not solved by you painting the road with a magenta color, sort of marking and saying that this is how it's going to be on the right lane, mark you. And you tell us, well, if you embark at point A of your, boarding the bus, it will drop you at your disembarking point. Hello, you don't have rules, you don't have regulations, you don't have a policy that you have communicated even to other road users. How will the private passenger vehicle use that road? And there is no rule, there is no regulation at the moment that governs that. So I'm saying that this case brings on the table all these issues for discussion, but for more than discussion, deliberation, and we have a concrete, sound decision made on it. And if the NTSA, if the Cabinet Secretary in charge of transport is willing to have an open mind and say that let's get serious, I believe as a country we can resolve this and move forward as a people, not keep revolving around the same issue. Do you think that Michuki rules are the solution to the transport problems in this country? Do you think removing all these 14-seater PSV vans is a solution to the traffic problem? I don't think so.